Welcome, everyone. My name is Daphne, and I'm a caseworker at LCH Health and Community Services. I'm here with Maria from the Domestic Violence Center. Hi, Maria.
Hi, guys.
So recently, our community experienced a very tragic event related to domestic violence, and we wanted to spend some time talking about how to cope and heal after an incident of domestic violence of this magnitude. The kind that shakes the earth underneath your feet and makes you stop and reflect. On April the 25th, 2022, right here in Kennett Square, we had a murder-suicide. A mother and a young son killed by the husband, father, who then took his own life. Last year, November the 3rd, 2021, in Lower Oxford, another mother and her adult son were killed by the mother's boyfriend, and he killed himself after a police chase. And a few years back, December the 29th, 2018, in Oxford, a woman was strangled by a former boyfriend. We can even go a little further back. In 2015, a young college student from Jennersville was killed by her boyfriend. All of these incidents occurred within a 30-mile radius from where we are.
What's really disheartening too, Daphne, is that a lot of people don't realize that it happens right in your backyard, and that domestic violence is unfortunately something so prevalent. And it's something that happens not just on a local level, but on a national level. So 72%, which is about 4,000 a year of all murder-suicides involve an intimate partner. 94% of those victims of the murder-suicides are female. In the last 10 years alone, more than 1,600 people have died from domestic violence-related incidents in Pennsylvania. Those killed included women, children, and men of all ages, races, sexual orientation, and socioeconomic groups.
And I find it interesting, Maria, that I read somewhere that in 88% of the time, a gun was involved. And
It's just
also very telling is that there was also a history of domestic violence. So this doesn't come out of the blue.
Right. And that's why people don't realize too that, if it happens one time, it starts with something as minimal, or what we would think is minimal, as something as emotional or verbal abuse, and it only escalates and it only gets worse. And domestic violence only gets worse. I previously worked with law enforcement, and I now in my role at DVCCC work alongside law enforcement. And in that, I know that in any of the cases that we saw, if ever there was violence from here on up, if there was strangulation or anything to the face, it was only a matter of time before they killed you. And that's...
So it's almost like an indicator?
Absolutely. And it's super heartbreaking to think that people don't realize that it escalates and it only gets worse because they want to believe the best. And there's nothing wrong with believing the best as long as that person gets the help and the counseling and the support and the assistance and the anger management and immediate intervention that they need.
So Maria, what kind of long-lasting impact does a domestic violence tragedy like these, like what we mentioned, have on a family, on a community?
That's a great question. So first, one of the prevalent ones that we as a community are experiencing right now due to what we just experienced and unfortunately are going through is constant loss and grief of losing a loved one. It plays a huge role and takes a huge toll on your mental health. Trauma makes a long-lasting impact on your brain. It actually changes the chemistry of your brain. And it's scientifically proven that it does so. And so it can actually even change the person that you are due to the fact that you've been through such trauma. And people don't necessarily know or may not be aware of that. Something else that domestic violence does, and the loss of something like that, is fear, anger, hopelessness, just a tension, and such a negative and frustrating and hopeless type of tension and air in the community, in the room, however you may want to word it. And it's disheartening, and it's heartbreaking, and it's something that we have to grieve through as a community. Something else that domestic violence, a loss within domestic violence takes a toll on is memory issues. It may even cause difficulty sleeping or even concentrating because you have so much in your brain going on and you're so focused on what you've experienced or what you saw that you're not able to focus on the here and now and the present. And then for the family as a whole, it's a life-changing impact. I can't believe or imagine what it must be like to lose somebody to domestic violence. I know that I've had friends that had been in violent relationships in the past, and thankfully that they were able to get out safe and sound, but that's not the truth for everyone.
And how do survivors turn this negative of domestic violence into healing? How does someone re-engage in life again after they've lost a loved one?
One of the biggest ways to heal and be able to walk through healing after something so horrible like domestic violence is to speak up. Speak up about your experience and how you're feeling. It's empowering, especially because domestic violence does so much to take from you, take from your power, take from your personality, take from your freedom. So open up, speak up, don't shut down. It's normal and understandable that it's such a difficult topic and such a traumatic event or series of events that you've been through. And so speaking up about it, whether that be to your friends, to your family, to therapists, to social media. We have so many people that advocate on social media for this for a reason. Right now, as we speak, the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case is literally live right now with a witness speaking on. I was watching it a little earlier today, and it just goes to show that even celebrities experience domestic violence and people realize that. Something else that we can do to heal and walk through healing through domestic violence is informing others and reaching out to your local resources, such as LCH and DVCCC, because you just never know. Your neighborhood community organization is there to be your guide, your mentor, to walk through it with you. You're not alone, and that's what we're here to do. That's
so important, not to isolate yourself with your own feelings and thoughts, and to seek professional help and reach out to support groups.
Exactly. Another thing that goes alongside healing is understanding the importance of it. It's important to know that healing is key to overcoming trauma, knowing that progress is not linear. There's no timeline of things that you're supposed to endure or walk through in order for, okay, now I achieve this level. Now I unlock this level. That's not how it works. You might be all the way over here and you feel like you're not crying about it. And then you right back into like sobbing the next day. And that's okay. That's all part of grieving it. You're grieving the death of something. You're grieving the death of what once was. You're grieving what now is. It's a whole process, and it's okay. It's okay to grieve through that.
Yeah, and it's important to be kind to yourself, right?
Yes.
Be compassionate and patient with yourself.
Yes.
This is a hard journey for many people.
Yes. And even in that kindness too, you're embracing the new you that's coming out of it, and kind of like the phoenix out of the ashes rising, and embracing the new you. This will always be a part of your story, but it doesn't define you. And that's something to definitely cling to.
And how do first responders, advocates, the community stay positive after something like this?
That's a great question. It's a heavy one. I'm sure, Daphne, you like myself, I've come home from a long day of hearing other people's traumatic stories and feeling like that secondhand trauma or firsthand trauma because we're dealing with it and trying to work through it with them. So making sure that you recognize that and understanding that that's part of this field. But that's why self-care is so important. And self-care may look like a ton of things. Self-care might look like a trip to the nail salon, or it might look like you going on a walk. Yes, going on a walk and enjoying like the beautiful like weather right now that we're having, and soaking in this breeze before the nasty summer comes. But it also is you taking time to like turn off your phone, to turn off the screen, to like dive into a book, to just like soak in and take a hot bath. Like it might just be you shutting out everything that like it just has you on 100 at times, and just quiet, like just sitting in the quiet and in silence, because you might need that just to soak into what really happened, to really take it all in, to really process. And that's okay. That's okay to need that. It's okay to admit that you need that. And you have to also take part of the process to understand that you can't change what happened. So that's part of processing, accepting like what the reality is, accepting that it happened. How can you make good of it? And that might take some time to even get to the point where you want to make good of it. So.
And so that leads us to the next question. So what can you do? And by you, I mean we. What can we do? What are the actions that we can take in our community?
So that's a great question. One of the reasons that I am here personally working for DVCCC, I went through a super traumatic, horrible, emotionally abusive relationship for 3.5, almost 4 years. And thankfully, I was able to get out and not be held back by anything. I didn't have children with him or anything like that. And I'm grateful for that. But to look back on the growth that I've had since then has been a beautiful thing. So, but the reason that I got to DVCCC is because I'm so passionate about this. Once I recognized that for what it was, I didn't know that it was an emotionally abusive relationship when I was in it. So acknowledging that, wow, like I really was in an emotionally abusive relationship, and being able to walk away from that and understand that like I am far stronger than I realized, and I don't have to repeat history, and now I can be part of the change and the best part of this, which is to inform others who may not also know that they were in an abusive relationship or that they're currently in one, and how to like walk through that and heal through that. So that's been like a beautiful thing. Also, in hand with that, speaking up has been part of my healing process. So I encourage you to speak up. It's okay to not know how to or what to say. There's no script. Like just speaking on your story is empowering. Knowing that you overcame that is empowering. And knowing that you're walking through healing is a beautiful thing. Not everybody can say that. We have lost so many people to domestic violence because not everybody was able to take the steps that you're taking, and acknowledging that you're not just taking it for you, but you're taking it for the future generations, and you're taking it for all those that couldn't, that didn't, that weren't able to have that as an option. Another option is to involve yourself with your local programs such as LCH or DVCCC and get connected, see what you can do to volunteer, to help, to make a change in the community, to inform others and to educate others that may not know. A lot of people don't know that domestic violence is as prevalent as it is. I hate that, Johnny Depp went through this, but I'm grateful that this is, that the media is shedding a light on it, because especially when it comes to men, it's not spoken of. Domestic violence is not spoken on. So I'm thankful that he's turning it around for something that it needs to be shed light on.
And you can participate. You can, because I'm a great proponent of volunteering.
Yes.
I guess any agency, any organization that puts out positive energy out there, that's uplifting, it can help.
Absolutely. It definitely can. And healing starts with that. So I'm definitely proud of us and both of our organizations respectively, and what we are able to do for our community. But it starts with our survivors. I don't like to call our victims because they're not, their survivors, and acknowledging that for what it is and bringing empowerment and healing to their story. So alongside that, as we're closing, I want to take a moment of silence for our survivors, but also for our lost loved ones, the ones that we have lost to domestic violence. So if you want to take a moment of silence with me, Daphne, I would greatly appreciate that.
Absolutely.
If everybody can see the announcement behind us, this is the Kennet Area Tree of Hope and Healing. And this will be a tree planted in honor of our survivors, as well as those that we have lost to domestic violence. And it's in dedication of those that we have helped, that we are currently helping to heal, and that we will help in the future as we continue to grow together hand in hand in this work, believing that we can bring hope and healing to our community and to the future generations. So it's this Thursday, May 26th at 6 p.m. on 600 South Broad Street at Kennett Square. So please join us there.
Thank you, Maria, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Please remember that the Domestic Violence Center and LCH are here to help, so don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Thank you so much, Daphne. Have a good day, guys.
Take care.